They like to have somebody in the middle who does that for them, right? Who actually prepares all of the data, the availability, so they can easily connect to something. And so we see ourselves increasingly as the backbone of vacation rentals in Europe.
Travel isn't slowing down, it's getting smarter. Here at the MKK in Munich, I'm Lyndsay Malchuk with Appeton. And what we're seeing right now is a shift. Travelers aren't booking, they're searching, they're comparing, they're optimizing. And the platforms that win are the ones that control that decision moment. HomeToGo has built itself right into that space, sitting on top of fragmented supply and turning it into something seamless, something scalable and increasingly powerful. And behind that growth is leadership that understands both technology and timing, how to take a simple idea and turn it into a global platform that people rely on. Joining me now is the CEO of HomeToGo, Sebastian Bielski. So great to have you here. So great and lovely to sit with you. How's everything been at the MKK so far?
Thank you very much, and thanks for the promotion. Actually, I'm the CFO. I'm not the CEO. So CEO would be Patrick, who is also the co-founder of the business. So he has founded the business, still in the business, leading the business. I'm just the numbers guy.
Just the numbers guy. We never get to sit down with the CFO, so I'm so excited to just dive into it a little bit with you. Now, I have a few questions here for the audience. The first one, let's talk about your shift to B2B.
Yeah.
Now, you're moving beyond marketplace. That's exciting news.
Yep.
So when you shift from B2B to, or B2C to B2B, are you becoming that infrastructure behind the entire industry? How is that working for you?
That is exactly right. So there is two parts of our business. The B2C part of the business is where Patrick actually founded the business 14 years ago. So that is focused on the traveler, on searching for a home to vacation in the summer. Our core audience is families, basically, right? Who want to have a good time at reasonable prices.
Yeah.
And the shift is towards the B2B side of the business. So services, infrastructure, software, target towards the owners of the properties. And so this part of the business now makes up about 2/3 of our revenue. The old marketplace business focused on the traveler is around 1/3 of the business. And so we see ourselves increasingly as the backbone of vacation rentals in Europe. So we are very much focused on Europe, continental Europe. Main countries where we have properties located are France, Spain, Italy, Croatia. So kind of like Southern European countries where people from Northern Europe like to take holidays in the summer.
So Americans, could they use that platform as well?
Absolutely, very much. Yes, not many Americans do. I think Americans, when they come over, they probably rather book hotels.
Okay.
Just because they like to spend their holidays more in larger cities like Rome or Paris or something.
Right.
We are really focused on more like rural settings, like classic vacation settings, like at the Mediterranean or the Baltic Sea, more like rural settings. So more like family vacations rather than really like long-term travels like Americans coming over.
You know, that's such a great concept to have because, you know, as a Canadian coming over, I don't necessarily want to stay in a hotel all the time. There's just no education on where to look. So this is such a great platform to have for sure.
Yeah.
Let's flip over to competing with Airbnb and Booking.com. What does the market still need to know about HomeToGo when giants already dominate that space?
So they dominate, but only over here in the B2C side. Right. So again, that's only 1/3 of our business, 1/3 of our revenue. And there we obviously compete with an Airbnb, with a Booking.com, with an Expedia and so forth. The 2/3 of our business where we're focused on the owners, there is no Airbnb, there is no Booking.com. There is hundreds and thousands of very, very small hyper-local businesses, mainly family-owned, doing services in very specific local areas. There is about 19 million vacation homes in Europe who have external management, so where the owners don't do the services themselves. If you include those, it's probably more like 30 million, right? There is 1 million vacation homes in rural areas, so our target geographic scope, and we have 50,000. So, and we're the second largest in Europe already in the property management for vacation rentals. So it is a huge market. It is absolutely atomized. There is decades of growth ahead of us. And this is nothing where a Booking.com or an Airbnb is actually doing anything, right? So this is really something where it's a blue ocean market for us. And that's why this is the focus for growth, capital allocation, and profitability for us.
Well, you chose such a strong niche to have that it's not been delved into yet. So, I mean, kudos to that for sure. And I think what's lacking is just the education around it.
Exactly, yeah. So we started as a pure marketplace business, and so people or investors still think of us as, well, you're in a market which is dominated by an Airbnb and so forth. And that used to be true a couple of years ago, but with the pivot towards B2B, exactly, we're not in that market anymore, or the majority of our business is not in that market anymore. And so we're competing with very small, very hyperlocal, family-owned businesses where we have an incredible advantage because we have scale, we have infrastructure, we have technology, all of that they don't have. And so it's really a fantastic market to operate in.
So great to hear. Well, let's flip over to AI and the efficiency of that. I mean, AI is really, we see it's improving searches, and it's giving us all the pricing and the negotiations right there at our fingertips.
Yep.
How much of your edge going forward is actually driven by AI versus your inventory?
So the edge is really in the inventory, right? So AI has an impact on the marketplace, or may have an impact on the marketplace. To be honest, at the moment, we don't see that yet. I don't think any of the travel players are really seeing that. So the whole kind of like market trope of like, oh, there is this immediate huge disruption, we don't see that. I don't think anybody's seeing that at the moment. So I think these things will take a couple of years to really work their way through. Not everybody is super, tech savvy and builds their own cloud bot to do everything for them. So most people don't do that. They still need intermediaries like a Booking.com or like our marketplace. So for us, on that part of the business, it is a marketing channel, right? Like a new marketing channel, the same way that Google search is a marketing channel for us, or social is a marketing channel for us. Now the LLMs become a marketing channel for us. They actually like working with somebody like us who aggregates inventory for them. They don't want to connect to 50,000 individual hosts. They like to have somebody in the middle who does that for them, right? Who actually prepares all of the data, the availability, so they can easily connect to something. Right, so that is something that we also do, and obviously the use of AI for us operationally is a big lever, right? So we do use it for customer service, we do use it in finance or in legal, for example. So it makes things easier. We use it in software development, right? Like all of our coders use Claude, for example, as kind of like a co-pilot for coding software. So all of that we do, and we do that since years already.
Sebastian, what do you think it is that the market is just not getting quite yet?
We're a complicated business, and there's a lot of stuff that we, to hate about us. Like starting with, we went public in 2021 at a share price of of 10 euros, and now we trade at €1.30, right? So basically nobody ever made any money with us. So if you have only investors who are unhappy about you, right? Like it's very, very hard to get a positive momentum. So that's the first one. We're hard to understand. You need to spend time with us. You need to understand the B2C side versus the B2B side, the synergies between that. Our numbers are sometimes hard to understand. We have something that's called share-based compensation, which is pretty normal for American businesses or North American businesses. In Europe or in Germany, that's not how businesses usually compensate, right? So it's more cash-based. We had a big Goodwill write-down last year, right? So if you look at our net profit after tax, minus 100 million euros for 2025. Have you burned 100 million euros last year? No, we haven't. We're cash flow positive. There is a lot of things between EBITDA and net profit that you need to understand, that you need to spend time with. So we're hard to understand. We're also German small cap in travel. Definitely not sexy, definitely not flavor of the month. So for investors, we are a contrarian pick. So there is lots of growth in terms of top line profitability left for us. I personally am invested in the share. I think the next couple of years will be really, really great for us. But we're definitely not flavor of the month. We're definitely a contrarian pick, and we're for contrarian investors.
That's the thing, is like there is so much room for growth, and we see it in the market so much, is that Airbnb and Booking.com, they're not the be all end all. And I can tell you on the Canadian American side, there's a lot of controversy around Airbnbs. with the security and with everything
Yeah.
else that's happening. So, we do want to look for other options as well.
Yeah.
And I think for you, I think it's just, let's get your story out there. Let's educate the
Yeah.
people way more.
Yeah.
What can we look forward to in the coming quarters?
I think in the coming quarters, you will see in the numbers, in the statutory numbers, actually the impact of a big acquisition that we did last year. So we made a big acquisition buying Interhome. We closed that acquisition at the end of August last year. So far, we only have one quarter being Q4 2025, where you can actually see those numbers. Every quarter now, you'll see the impact more and more and more. So I think especially in the summer months where we generate most of our revenue, most of our EBITDA, because we have a seasonal business, right? So most travel is in the summer. So that means most revenue and EBITDA in the summer. So I think when people see that, they will see how impactful the Interhome acquisition actually was. I think there should be focus on the integration process. There is already a lot of synergies that we have generated. We will keep the market updated about additional synergies that we're generating. I think you'll also see us do more M&A in the coming months and quarters. Smaller M&A, not as big as the Interhome acquisition, but in the same area. And also I think the disruption that we're now seeing with the conflict in Iran, right? So a lot less people from Europe book holidays in Turkey or in Egypt, which are more classic hotel type holidays. We may see shortages of kerosene in Europe, which will maybe disrupt flights, right? Like most of our inventory is within driving distance.
Oh, so
right?
great.
So if I live in Berlin and I want to have a holiday in southern France or in Italy, I can drive there. It's a long drive, but I can drive there. So we're not reliant on flights. And what we can see in our marketplace is that there is actually a shift towards vacation rentals in Europe. So we're kind of, and I'm sorry to say that, but we're a net, the war in Iran is a net positive for us at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people are staying closer to home.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us, Sebastian. It's been a lovely conversation. I definitely want to learn more. Where can we find you? What's your website? Where are you trading? So
it's HomeToGo.com. Have a look in the investor relations section. We're listed on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange in the Prime Standard.
Okay.
So you can buy our shares using any broker that you like. Yeah.
Great. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is a platform story that keeps expanding its reach. More users, more data, more control over that booking decision. And when you own that moment, you own a lot more than just the transaction. This has been a great conversation. Stay tuned. There is more to come. I'm Lyndsay Malchuk.